When we look ahead to Nigeria's 2027 presidential election, there's really one massive question hanging over the whole thing. Is this race already decided, or are we actually going to see a real contest for the country's future?
So you've got this classic showdown, right? On one side, you have the incredible structural power of the incumbent party, and on the other, well, you have the potential of a united opposition really fueled by how unhappy people are. And that's exactly the conflict we're going to break down right here.
We're going to look at this from 4 angles. First, the built-in advantages the incumbent has. Then, the big challenge for the opposition. Can they actually unite? We'll also touch on the international wildcard. And finally, what an uphill electoral battle really looks like on the ground.
Okay, so let's jump right in. To get a real handle on the 2027 landscape, you have to start with the institutional power of the ruling party, the All Progressives Congress, or APC. It's significant.
Okay, take a look at this. What you're seeing here is just how dominant the APC has become in the legislature. Thanks to a steady stream of defections from other parties, they've now locked in this powerful 2/3 majority in the House of Representatives. And listen, this isn't just about bragging rights. A 2/3 majority means you can pretty much write the rules, including, you guessed it, the very rules for the election itself.
And here's a perfect example of that power in action. The 2026 Electoral Act brought in this, let's call it a hybrid system for results. So yeah, results get sent electronically from the polling units. But the real, legally binding result is the physical paper copy. And what do critics say? They say this creates a massive loophole. Because if there's a technical issue or bad network coverage, it's the manual result that stands, and we all know which one is easier to mess with.
But look, this advantage goes way beyond just passing laws. You've got the judiciary, where a lot of people feel there's a bias, especially after what we saw in 2023. You've got the security forces. I mean, with APC controlling so many states, talk of state police makes people nervous about intimidation. And then there's the electoral body itself, INEC, still facing huge questions about its independence. Put all that together, and you have an absolutely enormous structural edge.
So, if you're the opposition, what do? How do you even begin to challenge that kind of dominance? Well, that leads us right to their single biggest problem, the challenge of unification.
I mean, this is the fundamental question, isn't it? If the opposition is split, it's pretty much game over for them. The incumbent just walks away with it. The only real shot they have is to unite. But, man, that is so much easier to say than to actually do.
And this really shows you the tug-of-war going on inside the opposition. On one side, you've still got all this fragmentation. Fights inside the PDP, key people still jumping ship to the APC, arguments over zoning, but on the other side, you're starting to see a real push to consolidate. You have the ADC popping up as a possible coalition platform, and you're hearing names like Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, and even former APC heavyweight Rotimi Amechi all in the same conversation.
So to try and cut through all that noise and division, what are they doing? They're framing the election in really simple, powerful terms. Atiku put it pretty bluntly. He's saying this isn't about party politics. He's framing it as a choice between the current government and the Nigerian people. It's a direct pitch to everyone who's frustrated with the economy and with security.
Now here's something really important to understand. You might see headlines about high-profile arrests, people like the former Attorney General Malami or Governor El-Rufai being detained. But this isn't a crackdown on the opposition. No, these guys were APC insiders. The consensus is that this is President Tinubu basically consolidating his own power base, cleaning house internally. It's a whole different ballgame than going after your political rivals.
And the numbers involved in these internal moves are just staggering. I mean, look at a figure like Nasir El-Rufai. The investigation into him is looking at alleged corruption involving over 423 billion naira. That tells you just how high the stakes are in these internal power plays.
Okay, let's switch gears for a second. Let's talk about a wild card factor that could change everything, the international community. And we're really talking about the United States here.
So one of the main pressure points is this thing called the CPC designation, which stands for Country of Particular Concern. And this isn't just some fancy diplomatic term. It's a formal label the U.S. government puts on countries it believes are involved in, or are just turning a blind eye to, really serious violations of religious freedom.
And make no mistake, this designation has real consequences. The U.S. House Foreign Affairs Committee literally called it a wake-up call for Nigeria. Why? Because it can lead to things like sanctions, cuts in foreign aid, and just a whole lot more international pressure on how the government is running things, including, of course, how it runs its elections.
And you can see just how political this whole thing is. The Trump administration put Nigeria on the list, the Biden administration took it off,
and then it was reinstated. This flip-flopping really just shows how much a change in U.S. foreign policy can directly affect the amount of pressure Nigeria's government is under to be transparent.
All right, so let's try to put all the pieces together. You've got the incumbent's massive advantage, the opposition trying to get organized, and this international pressure hanging in the background. So what does it all add up to? What are the actual, realistic chances for the opposition in 2027?
Well, the analysis is pretty sobering, to be honest. Even in a best-case scenario. I mean, if the opposition completely unifies and fields a single strong candidate, most experts think they'd top out at maybe 40 to 50% of the vote. That just shows you how incredibly narrow their path to victory really is. It is a real uphill climb.
And this right here really boils it all down. What does the opposition have going for them? Well, a lot of people are frustrated with the economy and security. And there's huge potential to get young people out to vote. But what are they up against? A powerful APC political machine, historically low voter turnout, I mean, it was only about 35% in 2023, and the very real risks of voter apathy and even suppression.
So, at the end of the day, this is the question that's going to define 2027. With the system, the institutions seemingly stacked in favor of the incumbent, can the opposition turn all that public frustration into enough votes to actually win? It's their best shot, maybe their only shot, and whether or not they can pull it off, well, that's the big question, isn't it?